Well, good afternoon. I'm your host, Earl Baston, for this Bermuda Sports Show. Joining me is none other than Eva Frazzoni, who is abroad. Well, she's back home now, but plying her trade of football over in Sweden. First of all, welcome, Eva.
Thank you.
I hope Bermuda's COVID isn't gotten you too much down right now. How have things been for you since you've been back home?
Obviously a transition. I mean, everyone from day to day, it's affecting everyone. Just trying to take the best out of each day. I came back mainly, obviously, to see my family and to work a bit in the off season. But yeah, it's been. I mean, Bermuda's get hit hard, so it's really hard not to be down. But it's just, trying to keep your loved ones safe, be smart, and that's just kind of what I've been doing each day.
Yeah, you got the opportunity to be in Sweden, pick up a contract, sign off, and then cap it off with a goal early early in it. Was that a dream start for you?
100%. I mean, I didn't plan that coming out of college, but with the 2020, it was the only thing that I knew was football. So I had the opportunity. So I just decided to just go for it, go away, because right now I'm not 100% sure what I wanted to do career wise outside of what I studied. I only knew football. So I went, and the team that I ended up with wasn't my first big choice, but everything happens for some sort of reason. And I was given a contract. So, I mean, 100% grateful. And then I just had fun. I mean, I felt like my teammates I had known for a long time. I felt comfortable instantly, even with the language barrier. And I just kind of seized it and just in the moment, and was lucky and grateful to pick up some points for my team. And I'm so excited for what my future holds.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that language barrier. How did you adjust to that kind of new language, different language, and they're communicating a lot better than they can with you.
Honestly, in Sweden, not knowing Swedish, it's going to sound weird, is not a bad, like, it's not hard because everybody speaks English, from stores to shops to teammates to coaches. I mean, sometimes in the circle, there's a joke. I have no idea what it was. Everyone's laughing. I just am standing there, but it's fine. When it comes to my teammates, everybody translates, sometimes over translates, because that's how close I've become with them. And my coach is just like, oh, tell Eva, and then I stand there and then they tell. But football is universal, even through a language, so I pick up things here and there. And it's been, honestly, it's not been that hard as some people might think, but it's because everybody speaks English there, and everybody's very willing to.
Yeah. How hard was it to get involved in the game? Because different style, you're in a different country, different style, different way of playing. How difficult was it for you to adjust to the speed, the tempo, and the style of football that they were playing?
Definitely. I think European football is very different, especially playing in America. America plays a very speed and direct play. And in Europe, they're much more technical and much holding the ball. They sit back a little bit before it's pressing, high press. They do a low press. So those were things, definitely adjustment. Plus, I had to learn the few Swedish words left to right. Sometimes, they're saying, then they're trying to translate it. And then I ended up at the beginning running a few circles, but that happened. So, I mean, after a few games, I knew what they wanted, and just kind of as a learning experience with any team. But definitely it was an adjustment, and a very interesting adjustment. I mean, I like fast play and I also like technical. So it's just kind of a learning experience. And I like playing with people from all over the world, and on and off the field. It's a life experience.
Yeah. When you're in the Bermuda national setup, you're kind of playing a forward role, but you played a lot of different roles for Bermuda. What position did they have you in Sweden that you kind of settled into?
I settled into a right wing position. I came in because in college I was playing a left back. So that's what I told them I was. But then I was playing left back for them at the beginning. And then one game I kind of switched to a right wing position. And then that was when I was comfortable. And that's when I started starting and actually having a much bigger role than I was coming off the bench as a left back.
Yeah. And you're more comfortable as a forward player, obviously.
Yes, I would not necessarily call myself a defender at all.
But you were doing that in the college in college.
Yeah, my coach in college, we didn't play a traditional wing backs. I mean, like, we didn't play a four in the back, so I wasn't necessarily like a left back. And when I tried to explain that, that's when the language barrier came into place. So they only heard left back, and I was trying to explain it was more of a left winger,
Right.
which I think they realized because anybody that knows me, I am not a back. But a footballer is a footballer, and to me, playing was playing, so I would have gone anywhere that they needed. But I definitely prefer attacking mid, right winger, 100% than left back.
Yeah. When you got into Sweden and you're looking at possibility of getting into a team, what were some of the outstanding things your first choice? Obviously, you said you didn't get in your first choice, but what were some of the things that stood out for you to get into this particular team?
It was an awkward and difficult time because the season was on its second half, but closer to the end. So at that point, the first team that I played with was fighting for relegation to not be in relegation. So it just didn't work out. But everything happens for some sort of reason. And I learned then that you might only get one chance or one showing. And that's all I did get. And sometimes you have to show everything, which can be difficult. So I made sure that when I did get my second chance, that as soon as I started, I was doing everything I could and not taking kind of a passive role, and hoping that, over time they would see what I know I could do. So my second time going for a trial, I made sure that exact day I was going to give everything and not I was the shell shocked and the nerves had gone with the first trial. Because at that point I was like, you're here, you have to give everything. And I think for the first time it was, huge stadium, it was huge team. So I was more just like, taken back and kind of being very passive, even though that's not really my role that I normally take. So I tried my second time to do complete opposite and give everything, and it paid off.
Not only do you have that language barrier, I know you played a lot in college, but how's that weather? How does that affect you? Because European, it could get a little colder than over in the US.
Honestly, New York, I played in worse. I was lucky because of COVID, our season ended a little bit early. So I did not experience the cold playing and anything. When I stopped, it was just a little bit chilly, still anything's colder than here. But when I was in New York, I was playing in snow, blizzard like that. So I was prepared, but it doesn't get easier. I don't get excited.
Now, obviously, when you're playing in New York, you're playing a lot on artificial turfs, more so than the grass that they're playing on. How much of a difference is that style of game? I know the artificial could be like similar to the stadium, but a lot faster than that. But playing over there, they have some really, they take care of their ground. So what is the difference in the two?
A lot. I mean, because you get used to something. So I mean, also physically, like your body changes from going from different surfaces. So there was some really wet days on the grass that can give any player a hard time with not having the right football boots, not having soft grounds. So I learned that quick. I mean, and then other than that, I do prefer artificial. That's just me personally, but like you said, their grass is taken care of. So sometimes you're on grass, but it's still as smooth as artificial. So it changes, but it's definitely just, on some surfaces you feel faster than others just because of the way it's either soft or hard or, so fatigue wise, sometimes calves, stuff like that, you just have to be prepared for. But everybody experiences it for both teams.
Yeah. What are training sessions like? Are they all high tempo?
For sure. My coach, like I said, he unfortunately didn't work out for him. So I'm very excited for our new coach because a lot of my teammates have played at very high levels. And now that they're kind of on the older end, so they're kind of at their end of the season, but they hold the training to a high level. I mean, when you're playing with girls who have played at top level Sweden, even in England and stuff, that's just encouraging because they're not allowing anything but a high tempo. So I think the high speed came within the team, which was very refreshing because that's exactly what you want. Sometimes you want the team to have it, not necessarily like the coach always on us. So it was just a really nice experience to be around a bunch of girls who have played high and to learn from them, and also to hear encouraging things that, maybe I can get to where they went.
Yeah. How much does fitness play in your part outside of football? Because obviously when you get to Sweden, you got to hit the ground running, and they're, like you said, they were past the halfway season mark, so their fitness level was way up. So how does that work for you in off season?
In off season, definitely have to keep it up. Definitely have to be very intrinsic and be on top of myself. When I did get out there, I had done a lot of work with Kenny Thompson national team, even with some friends local. So my fitness was high. But then between waiting for the one trial, traveling the week before, I mean, you lose it faster than you gain it. So I had to do extras, and I was out there with Willie, and he had me as a fitness coach. So I had plenty of fitness, and then it came really fast. I mean, your best fitness is through playing. So that's where I got it. As soon as my coach eased me in and had extra fitness for me to do. And I did even more on top of that, because the worst ever feeling is the fitness side of it, not just playing, because then you can't play where you want to.
Well, we see day in and day out your team is picking up or re-signing players. A lot of exciting news coming out of Sweden for your team. But when you're looking back at the experience thus far, would you have imagined something of this nature maybe 6 years ago?
No, no. And even when I was in college, you know, as a woman, it's very hard to, know to feel that dream, because the reality of the side is financially. So it's always had to be a second thing for me. And with how 2020 has gone with everyone, I think it's important for everyone to just do what makes you happy. And I had an opportunity to go out there, and I did it. And I wouldn't have imagined that. I mean, I've never been a huge planner. You ask anybody, I've always just kind of gone with the moment, with college, with my study abroad, with any of that. So I still am very much like that. Obviously, when you get a bit older now, I have to make a few plans. But yeah, it's hard for women. But I encourage any young girl, and I hope that through my experience, and for young Bermudians here, for girls, that we have to do what makes you happy, regardless of money, because you can have a bunch of money, doesn't mean you're happy. So
True.
hopefully.
Now, when you're in the national setup, you've had the opportunity of leading Bermuda right here in Bermuda during the women's tournament, representing the country. How proud does that make you feel, especially being a leader on the field?
It's indescribable. To this day, what you just mentioned, our U20 game against Jamaica here to date is the best experience of my life. And I take that very, very deeply. And there is no words to describe representing my country for anybody. And you see that when you meet people from other countries, and they're like, "Oh, you represent your country," and you're like, "You know what? Yeah." And putting a Bermuda jersey on means absolutely everything. And with my Bermudians, I mean, there's no other team that I have felt that passion for, because it's your country. And I know I'm not describing it, but it's because I just don't really know like how, because it's
Right.
that amazing. And playing in front of your home, for a lot of my family and friends to that date had never seen me play live, because I went and left Bermuda so early. So I treasure that moment 100%. And it was a big thing for women's football, because we did bring more fans than the men's had ever done.
You didn't have to whisper that. You could have shouted that out.
Loud and proud. Yep. So 100%. My national team to date, a lot of fun, best experience. And I look forward to every tour. And we have very promising coming up with the young ones. A lot of them have gotten a lot of experience from going away to school. And that definitely changes you. It makes it a lot more real. And I'm looking forward 100% to what we can offer in the future.
You've seen the women's game grow over the years. We saw the the way the response to Women's World Cup got a few years ago, and it kind of brought women's football to light. Looking around CONCACAF, and we still have some ways to go, but how do you think things are going in the region, just looking at it, and because next year is going to be a busy year for international football, especially for the women as well?
I think it's a domino effect. I think with big teams getting and fighting for rights for us, for like I talked about financially, it then trickles down to the lower countries. So I think from, I want to be very hopeful, and I am hopeful for what we can do in the future. And like I said, more young and younger girls are getting that experience out of the country and being able to bring it here. But as we continue to fight and try and grow women's football here and keep growing with that support, sorry, it's going to get better 100%. But like I said, it starts from the bigger countries, because that's where money is and they have more publicity, and it trickles down to us. And I hope we take it in and keep growing here. And yeah, 100%.
One more question. You're due to leave mid-January, season will start what, March?
Yes, March, April. It's a pretty long preseason, but yeah.
Right. What would be a dream season for you?
To get promoted. 100% to get promoted, but to have fun and to do my best and to do everything that I can do for my team. That's always something that I strive for, is so that my teammates are happy with what I'm doing and I'm happy with what I'm doing. And I mean, if you play your best, then that only opens up better doors. But I love every experience that comes with playing abroad and meeting people from different countries and just taking that all in. And I hope that I can, do what I have to do, score, get eyes on me, but also most important, my team's main goal is to get promoted. And we have a very talented team, and hopefully with the new coach that we have, a different mentality and very supportive behind our club.
Yeah. You finished with how many goals?
2.
Two on the season. So let's see if you can quadruple that.
Yeah, I will have more games, so hopefully.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. Thank you very much for joining me.
For having me.
Yeah, and we'll look forward to speaking with you again prior to, or once you're back and settled in, getting ready for the season. But all the best, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, folks, thanks for joining Bermuda Sports. Do enjoy the rest of your day.